Hi everyone, if you enjoy what I do, then I think you'd enjoy my short collection of short stories, available now on Amazon. Please make sure to subscribe and consider becoming a Patreon. Enjoy the video! Of all the mysteries hidden throughout Tamriel, one of the most vexing lies within a sleepy hamlet in the west of Cyrodiil. As overlooked by outsiders as it is, the village harbours a dark secret beneath its streets, one of heinous deeds, the worship of despicable creatures, and the goal of handing the land over to terrible beings who seek to retake the rule they held long ago. By the lizards long ago. However, the terrain can be extremely dangerous. Right, time to die. Far back in the annals of history, before even the First Age, the Dreg are said to have ruled a portion of the Mirific era with tyrannical might. Far distant from their counterparts in modern times, the Dreg of old were intelligent, cunning and fearsome, and with the blessing of Daedric Prince Molag Bal, they conquered whatever lands they chose. Then arose the Mer, elven folk, and of them were the Dwemer, in their own tongue, Deep Ones, who would stand against the Dreg, and not only vanquish their mighty empire, but defeat them so thoroughly that it caused their race to devolve, decimating their sapience, much as they would the Falmer in ages to come. Could it have been, though, that some would escape the elven wrath, their descendants surviving the eras, hidden from the world, and driven to live on through the vengeance they craved? But all too soon, this would also be taken from the Dreg, as the Dwemer mysteriously vanished from the world, leaving their constructs to taunt the surviving Dreg, an eternal empire incapable of being felled. Now without reason, the Dreg remnants roamed the world, century upon century watching the changing lands, forever aimless and forsaken. Yet despite all that had befallen them, they persisted. They would scheme ways to regain a fraction of the power their ancestors had once possessed, but each time their plans would come to naught. It would not be until they came upon their sacred text that everything would change. They would find the Nagasta Kavata Kavakis almost by happenstance, but after such a period of exile, the slowed text would be inspirational to them. Not only did these creatures herald, like the Dreg, from the seas, but they were resolute, fundamental and unwavering. For this, the Dreg would come to revere the Slowed, unlike nearly every other being in Tamriel, and made it their purpose to find these beings, who would become as prophets to them. Of all the wars of the First Age, the slowed invasion of Tamriel and their use of the Thracian plague on its occupants was easily one of the most harrowing. Despite an overwhelming naval response from a united Tamriel, overcoming fierce slowed manufactured storms and laying siege to the Isles of Thras, the damage had been done, and would leave an indelible scar upon the mainland that would last for millennia to come. What's more was that, even though it seemed as though the Allied navy had prevailed, sinking the isle into the Abyssal Sea, it is rumoured that this was done by the Slowed themselves, retreating where the land dwellers could not follow, only to re-emerge in the Second Era. Could it have been, though, that members of Slowed advanced guards into Cyrodiil became trapped on the land after their defeat, seeking any refuge they could, lest they be hunted down and killed? Would it be that one would find themselves sheltering in a cavern system just south of Coral, wallowing over their defeat in the underground lakes? Unaware of the true nature of events, or their home's survival and eventual resurfacing, this Slowed may have set about seeking their own revenge, desiring to build a sleeper army of sorts, one that could strike at the very heart of the Empire, not all too far away. Growing old and immobile within the pools, the Slowed would tempt any who passed by, with promises of riches and immortality, when in truth all they would deliver would be blood and so much worse. An eternity of nightmarish undeath, for the Slowed were masters of necromancy, and upon the death of a follower, they would be swiftly revived, ensuring the army would only continue to grow. As it did, a town was built up around the Slowed's caverns, one that would come to be named Hackdirt. Despite the town's best efforts, suspicions grew in neighbouring villages, and soon enough the plot was uncovered, and Hackdirt would be burnt to the ground, every occupant killed, and the Slowed mortally wounded. It would be now that the Dreg would hear about the town, and what had been going on within it, and they would know that their quest was near its end. They would find the dying Slowed within its caverns, and marvel at its bloated form. For over the centuries, the creature had become a demigod of sorts to them. They implored the Slowed to show them its ways, telling of their people's history, and their desire to reclaim what they felt was theirs. Finally, the Slowed would relent, on the condition the Dreg would raise Thras from the sea, and turn a portion of Tamriel over to them. Prepared to do anything for their god, the Dreg would accept, and be taught the ways of Slowed necromancy before the creature finally died, so that they may continue its work in Hackdirt. Finally, having achieved the goal they feared for so long would be unobtainable, the Dreg took the name of their ancient adversaries as a form of perverted insult, deeming themselves the Deep Ones, and began their sinister work. Not only would they resurrect the inhabitants and rebuild a portion of the town, they would push their misguided religion onto the surface dwellers, delivering a copy of Nagasta Kavata Kavatis to them, translated into Daedric runes, in an attempt to once more curry favour with and gain the strength of Molag Bal. What's more, they would attempt to grow their army further by crossbreeding with abducted humans. The deliverance of such offerings to the Deep Ones, conducted as a ritual the townfolk called the Gathering. What would be created were the mutated and cave-dwelling brethren, but even this was not enough. Humans were weak, and the Deep Ones desired a stronger specimen, something closer to themselves, and decided that an Argonian would be suitable. The Slode, they decided, had been too overt about their actions, and they would need to be much more insidious, patiently waiting for the right person to fall into their hands. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. This one was requested by patron Zane Delahunte, and if you want to request your own video, then simply become a patron and send me over a message. Now don't forget to subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.